For a lot of guys over 40, there comes a time when you realize that the rat race just isn't worth it. You're working hard, you've achieved a lot in your career, but it's taken the gas out of your tank. And you start realizing, I've got to ask myself some different questions. You start asking yourself things like, is this really worth it? Is this what life is about? After working 25 years as a police officer, I have seen firsthand how quickly life can change. And a lot of times on these calls and in my personal life, it really made me stop and think about what really matters the most. Today in our careers and in our lives, I mean, it's just crazy, right? The system tells you one thing and you're feeling another. Work more overtime, try to get that promotion, try to get that next special assignment, try to meet these deadlines, try to do this, try to do this. We're constantly in this achievement rat race mode, and we don't know how to step back from that for fear of being called lazy, for thinking that you're not achieving anything. I remember when I was a young officer and I'd been on the road for maybe a year or two, and I was a go-getter. I was always out there being very proactive, looking to get into stuff. And it would really upset a lot of the older officers because I was out there asking for backup and calling them, to come and help me out. And they were just trying to chill out and sit in a quiet spot. And I remember one officer came up to me one time and said, "Hey, come Thursday, you and I get the same paycheck. This is a marathon, not a sprint. You need to slow down, rookie." And at the time, I thought, you lazy. You're just lazy. You're old. You're grumpy. You're burned out. But what he was trying to tell me was, don't get caught up in the rat race. You have a 25-year career ahead of you, and you have plenty of time to go out there and make all your dreams come true. Slow down and don't get caught in the rat race. I absolutely did not listen, and it cost me dearly. Most of us have this wake up moment when we realize we're in the middle of the rat race. I was exhausted. I wasn't present for my family. I was coming home burned out, angry. I had sleep issues, I had all these things going on, but I wasn't really at the time relating it back to being caught up into this hustle and bustle of work, trying to achieve this, trying to achieve that. I had no idea that I was myself caught in the middle of this race that I feel like I couldn't get out of. I just chalked it up to being a high achiever, to being competitive, to really enjoying working in the chaos. That's where I thrive. But what I was doing was I was working in the middle of the rat race and I couldn't stop. And it took me a few years of seeing people and going on calls and looking at folks in the worst moments of their lives. It was really realizing that in the blink of an eye, how fast somebody's life can change. And I remember some of the worst calls I would have to go to would be death notifications. I would have to go and notify parents that their child was just involved in a fatal car accident or that their child was killed in an industrial accident at work. And it's crazy because I would stop and realize that the last time they saw their kids or the last time family members saw other family members would be the last time that they ever saw 'em. And that freaked me out a lot of times because then I would sit back after that call and really ponder like, man, is all of this stuff worth it? Is really working all of this overtime worth it? What's important? And am I myself caught in this rat race that I need to slow down and get out of? At that time, even though I saw all of these incidents of how fast life can change, I didn't take stock of it in my own life and just kept pushing. And so work was always my priority. Being on the tactical team was always my priority. Working overtime was always my priority. And I want to take you to Matthew chapter 6, verse 21, where Jesus says, where your treasure is, there your heart is also. And now he doesn't mean money always, it can be, but my treasure was work. My treasure was achieving things related to the job. My treasure was the next special assignment. And so, where all of that stuff is exactly where my heart was. And the faster the pace was, and I was trying to keep up, especially as I got a little bit older, I realized that this is really damaging me. It's damaging to my family. The weirdest thing about it was, though, is that I still didn't slow down. So my treasure and my heart was absolutely tied to that career, and I didn't even realize it. What we pursue shows us what we truly value. What many people realize, and I realized, I will say that by the time it was almost too late, is that I was really chasing the wrong things. It's good to have goals. It's good to be, I think, striving in your career, for the next promotion, for the next whatever it is that you want. We have to have goals and we have to achieve things within the career. But when you make that your idol, when you make that your treasure, the treasure of your heart, it's going to lead fast to burnout. And what happens is that something tragic happens that will often make people wake up. For me, I literally walked off from the job behind a career, left behind a pension, left behind healthcare. I mean, I went back, but at the time, I had jumped into that rat race. I had made the job the treasure of my heart for so long that that's how it caught up to me. It was this moment that I was like, I can't take this anymore. I was in the rat race so hard for so long that it crushed me. So if you've ever had that moment yourself where you've like questioned the rat race and what you're really achieving, you are not alone. Sometimes the best realization is understanding that this is happening to you because then it gives you the opportunity to stop, pause, and start turning things around. This can be a defining moment. If you yourself are sitting here thinking like, yeah, that's me, I'm part of that, I can't get out of it. Yes, you can. If it has destroyed and or is destroying relationships, it might be destroying your identity. You absolutely can turn it around. This can be the moment where you stop, make that halftime adjustment, and then build and drive towards the purpose of what really is your calling or what things are really valuable to you. Because if it is your career right now, that career is going to come to an end. Those achievements are going to come to an end. I have so many different achievements, plaques, trophies, citations. They're all sitting in my basement. I couldn't tell you where half of them are. But for so long, I pursued those things. It was the treasure of my heart. And now they sit somewhere in my basement. And so I used that crash out, so to speak, that turning point in my life of understanding and realizing that the rat race and the job was where my treasure was, that it took a catastrophe for me to realize what my true calling and my true purpose is. And it's not your career. It's not what you do. Anyways, I hope you got something out of this. I would love to hear your thoughts on this. If so, comment below. If you're enjoying this information, let's get it out to the algorithm and help some other men out there. Hey, remember where your treasure is, there your heart is also. Subscribe and we'll keep doing more videos. See you at the next one. Bye for now.